Assalamu alaikum. I've written and spoken before about spending too much time on social media, but now I would like to address the possible positive sides of social media. Even though these are under the umbrella of massive corporations and monetization by them through ads, subscriptions, and other means, and the means of monetization will continually shift as online landscapes rapidly change and adapt. However, the prodigious growth and the powerful interactions on these platforms by masses of humanity joining, discussing, arguing, commenting, trolling, interacting, and endlessly consuming information can, believe it or not, have net positive benefits, depending on how one interacts with these massive information storehouses. So Marshall McLuhan had a famous phrase, "The medium is the message." And he was pointing out that the form and structure of a medium, and not simply the content carried by it, shape how messages are experienced, how content is experienced, what effects it has, and how societies are impacted by this. So the medium, which in theory, you would ordinarily think about it as simply as a box for content, turns out to be much more than a simple carrier of content. Rather, the way in which a medium is designed and the constantly tweaked algorithms on which it runs structures our perception, our types of participation, the reaction of our senses and our mind, and the power that can flow from these. So a printed book, a printed newspaper, a legacy TV broadcast, and a TikTok clip may all carry similar content. Say, for example, a political speech or a philosophical contemplation, but the experience, the reach, and the cognitive effect differs dramatically depending on the medium. So a message is not reducible to the words or images themselves, but is inseparable from the form of mediation, the manner in which it reaches us, for this will reshape our perception, our attention, and even in the wider view, our social structures. So a printed book tends to reward long stretches of attention, activating more contemplative thought patterns, and is capable of providing focused and deep knowledge. Social media in its present form tends to collapse journalism, propaganda, gossip, humor, rants, entertainment, raw footage, and activism into a single fast-moving environment and presents it as an endless swiping, scrolling interface of served-up content decided by a complex combination of our choices and their algorithms. So this also allows instant interaction with an amplification of trends and certain prominent views and voices. So there's real force, not just in the content, but in the medium's structuring logic. Now, McLuhan's philosophical statement, "The medium is the message," is reminding us in a way to be aware that communication technologies are never neutral vessels. They are world-making structures that can reconfigure perception, cognition, social order, and even the nature of our being itself. So he's pointing out that content, especially in the fast-paced media of our time, is ephemeral and will endlessly modify itself to conform to the formats that are required by the medium through which they are presented. So in our present era, neither the medium nor the content nor the technology it runs on, and which is used to create it all, is necessarily enduring. At one time, McLuhan would have said the content is transitory, the medium is enduring. But now, all of it is transitory and shifting. The structuring of the technology dramatically affects the content and the medium. And the prevalence now of LLMs, the large language models, will likely also rewrite the medium, the content, and the approach. It's not really avoidable unless we wish to take a leaf out of the Amish or the Mennonite approaches, who deem all this as unnecessary noise and who already practice a systemic method that frees them from ever-shifting content and medium. But assuming that we consider it important to be aware of and to participate in a knowledge landscape that connects large swaths of the Earth's population through useful, though very imperfect mediums. Let's next time discuss briefly some of the positive aspects of modern media and communication. So I'm going to stop here, and I'll have a part 2 which will look at those positive aspects, especially as they've emerged in recent times. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much.